Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy, Octagon Talk, TITTH number 115, 115. I'm your host, Justin Bruni. I got Nick Davis with me. What's up, brother? How we doing?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, a little too zoomed in there. Get the ring involved. Get down to the canvas. Doing good. Ready to talk some fights. We got UFC 259 on the books for this weekend. Very excited for it. Any big plans this weekend other than maybe checking out some fight highlights?
Probably not. I have to be chilling in quarantine, so I'm kind of stuck. Probably just gonna play a lot of NBA 2K.
All right, getting after some 2K. Good stuff. We got Donnie Knox in the house. That he's been waiting all week for the TITTH number 115 259 preview. How we doing, Donnie? Hope you're doing well, sir. Welcome to the show. Yeah, don't really have that much planned. Just going to be watching some fights, writing some articles, getting after it. We got free agency in the NFL right around the corner. I got my birthday coming up, anniversary coming up, so that's going to be a big week for me. A lot of excitement for me in the middle of this month. Sad, another year without like a big banging St. Patrick's Day celebration, but got to stay indoors, got to keep ourselves healthy and clean. So let's jump right into it, though. We got some recent news today. Got some cuts in the UFC. You see Dos Santos and Overeem cut. What do you think about that?
I mean, now I'm
Sorry. Cam already popping off in the chat. Russ to the Bears.
We're talking the UFC. We're talking
don't
UFC
post
right
unless
now.
It happens, Cam. Don't be interrupting the show with that. Trying to make us think otherwise. Jumping over to our phones like that. Come on now.
What were we talking about? Wait. What were we talking about?
Overeem and Dos Santos getting cut. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Overeem Dos Santos. It's really just Dana White really just cutting the fat from the roster. I mean, he was right a couple months ago when he said that the roster was really overinflated. There was a lot of fighters that just kind of got comfortable being in the UFC and just not real like Overeem. Like when he first came in, he was very exciting and had some explosive, fights and stuff. At this point, he doesn't really have that anymore. And Dos Santos, he was a former champion, but he's kind of fallen off of a cliff and hasn't been, the same fighter. So really, Dana's just letting these new fighters come up. You got the Contender Series. You got, looking for a fight. There's a bunch of different ways for these new fighters to come in than just the Ultimate Fighter. So I'm glad that, these spots are opening up and hungry people can get back into the UFC and maybe we can start seeing, a lot more exciting fights.
Right. I think when you meant trim the fat, did you mean the old people in the UFC? I mean, these guys have been around for forever, but I feel like that's going to be kind of a continued trend here. And I think the youth is going to wind up taking over the brand here pretty soon.
They gotta get some more marketable fighters because a lot of the names I keep hearing are like older names that have been in the league for a long time, and we've been watching them for years. And right now it's kind of like changing of the guard. Like you kind of gotta look at the ones that aren't exactly at the top. Like John Jones. He can honestly do kind of whatever, and he'll always come back in and be the top. But Dos Santos is also was also a champion, and he's kind of like in that lower echelon of those kinds of stars. And I think Dana's going through that list and just kind of seeing like, hey, it's time for you to go to like Bellator or something like that, find another opportunity to fight elsewhere.
Level up if you want to keep moving on here. Cam was mentioning in the chat that he was watching the press conference, and Dana was questioned about those two fighters individually in the press conference, and he said, "Hey, business is business." I mean, he didn't say that exactly, but that was the roundabout answer he gave. It's just like, yeah, both those guys are great, awesome humans, great fighters, but it's business. Their time came. Dos Santos, he turned down a short notice fight for UFC 260, and Overeem, I think he lost to Alexander Volkov in his last fight, and he just looked really, really bad. I think between the two, I was more shocked by Overeem getting cut because he did have 2 wins before that fight, but it was a bad bout with Volkov. Like he was just, I don't know. He was very dismissive in his attacks. He was holding his hands over his eyes. He was crouching. Like he wasn't really, trying to do anything. He wasn't really, doing much in the center of the ring, kept backing away, not defending himself. So yeah, it was a very unimpressive performance, but because he still had 2 back-to-back wins before that, I was still kind of shocked that he was tossed so quickly. So other than that, we got the partnership with UFC and DraftKings. It looks like they're going to be posting up like live odds during the fights. I think that's awesome. I think that's a great way to get more casual fans involved, because those types of measurements, like, round to round updates on the odds, I just think that brings in obviously more gamblers like us. People are, putting some money down in the fights, and two, just like, showing up like the actual, odds live, I think lends better to the viewing experience. So when, you do see someone's hand raised, you're not so shocked, by a decision, when like realistically they were minus 400 for like the last 2 rounds of the fight. You excited about that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're still in Maryland, so like it hasn't exactly hit us
Kicked
yet,
in.
which is like it's almost like everyone around us has gotten the ability to like do it from your phones, and we still have to go to the sports book. So once that happens, I mean, they're kind of just like setting it up so like when everything's up online, we basically have everything available. But yeah, it is awesome that there's now a partnership and they can go more in depth, and maybe fighters can start using that as like a stream of income if that they start figuring out ways to connect purses and betting.
Yeah, I would love for that FanDuel app and DraftKings app to just start kicking in over here in Maryland, in our area in the 301. But maybe if Emron's in the chat or if Cam's in the chat, maybe one of the brothers, Khan, might have a little update for that. When that actually might happen. We voted. Hey, we did our job, Maryland. All right, we got it done. Vote passed. Where's our DraftKings? Where's our FanDuel? Come on, what the hell? Give them to us. Other than that, we've got some upcoming fight talk. Obviously we've got Adesanya and Blachowicz on the card tonight, but we're already talking about Adesanya and John Jones potentially in December. We're talking about Masvidal and Usman potentially in September. Their camps, had some heated talks. It seemed like, we were like days away from something getting inked, but and then I even saw a few, I think, memes on just like Twitter or social media saying, "Oh, hey, it's happening." And I go to look it up, and both camps are like, no, that's a bad report. Nothing's confirmed yet. Do you think that's the fight for Usman? Is it Masvidal?
Yes, I do think it is Masvidal. Masvidal had a pretty great showing for an extreme weight cut and a very short notice. So I think that he deserves like a full camp against Usman, and I think that's the next fight that should really be inked. After this fight with Blachowicz, there's going to be more confirmed results with Adesanya and John Jones. They're just kind of waiting for the result. I mean, they might give it a couple. They got to see how long he's suspended for if he is suspended after fighting. So we'll see how it goes. But I think that both will be done within the year.
Yeah, I would really love for that fight to happen, especially in the tough camp, as Cam mentioned here in the chat, for them both to be, tough coaches, Usman and Masvidal. I think that would be great. As far as Adesanya and Jones, yeah. As far as Adesanya and Jones, just give it to us this year, please. Like, Adesanya needs to fight again this year. That's the fight after this one. Going for the double belt up against Blachowicz tonight. Going to be, or not tonight, but Saturday night. Getting ahead of myself there. But yeah, I think he does win this fight this Saturday. Going to be the double champ. I think that would just be a huge blow up for the marketing for the UFC. Adesanya versus Jones. September, December, I don't care. Christmas come early on Christmas Day. Just give it to us. Let's go. Give it to me. All right, let's jump into some of the fight previews. We were just going to cover the main card, Nick, but you wanted to start off with this one. Go ahead and take us away.
So I actually was going to write about this fight in my underdog of the night, because when I pulled up the card, I couldn't freaking believe I saw this. Dominic Cruz is an underdog against Casey Kenny. Dominic Cruz is plus 100, while Casey Kenny is minus 140. The over-under for the rounds is 2.5. I am saying that this is like the last fight that Cruz had was against Cejudo, and me and Justin both watched that fight, and I kind of felt like that fight was stopped like a tad short. Like, he did get caught, but
was that Cejudo's retirement fight where he was just like yelling at everybody in an empty room?
Cruz slipped. It was like one of the first fights in COVID, but Cruz slipped, and it kind of just like the ref called it a little early, I felt, but this is Casey Kenny, like I saw him during it was the Contender Series, and I wasn't walking away with being impressed. He seems to be like kind of like a fighter that kind of fights for decisions, lets the judges try to decide. If you want to get into that kind of fight with Dominic Cruz, like go ahead. I don't think he's going to touch Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz is a very different level of fighter than Casey Kenny has ever like seen. I think that this is a good test for Casey Kenny to see where he's at in terms of like the division. But Dominic Cruz is like, I was just jaw dropped when I saw the odds. So for me, he's kind of like the lock of the night at plus 120. Besides Santos, who we'll talk about later. But what do you think?
I like the odds realistically. I mean, I wasn't really invested that much into the fight. You know, when you asked me to kind of take a look at it, you know, Kenny, he looks good. Like he's a good striker. He can lay out a lot of combos on Cruz. But I think you're right in the fact that his style is just not going to meet the experience of a Dominic Cruz, who is just fighting just better talent in the UFC in general. Like you mentioned, Henry Cejudo, the fight before that, I believe he lost to Uriah Faber. And I think he had a big win before that.
Cody
or a
Garbrandt.
couple of wins, actually. Cody Garbrandt, a couple of big wins before that. So I feel like Dominic Cruz is still a few levels ahead of Kenny. But Kenny coming in, he's a rising fighter. He's coming off quite a few wins. I think he's 4-1 in his last 5. But as you mentioned, like he's not finishing fights. He's winning by pretty much every UFC fight by a decision. He has one submission win up against Luis Smolka about 3 or 4 fights ago. And so his track record so far isn't very impressive. And it looks like the fans are just all over Dominic Cruz. I was looking at Tapology. About 70% of viewers or watchers are saying that Cruz is going to take this one. I'm probably not going to lay it because I just, I like to pick the main card. But I think you're onto something there. I think that plus 120 holds some real value and holds water. So I'm into it. I'm gonna get on it.
I just like, excuse me, after losing to Cejudo for the belt and then not fighting and basically being sent to number 13 in the rankings, like what kind of shit is that, Dana? Like, come on, that's kind of messed up. Like he shouldn't have gone down to the borderlands and had to like claw his way back to the beginning. I mean, honestly, Casey Kenny is a stepping stone for Dominic Cruz to have one more run. I think Dominic Cruz does have one more run. Like you were talking to me before the show, he has 35. He's 35 years old. He has 25 total fights. But the thing is that he's also been off like for 2-3 years. So really, he's kind of like 32 in like mileage time. And I think that kind of will play in. I think he will fight a little bit longer than most people expect because the time he has sat. I think he's got one more run at least in him, and I think Casey Kenny is going to be like a stepping stone for him to get back into like the top 10 and then back into the top 5 for that one more shot.
If Cruz wins this fight, what do you think's up next for him? Maybe like a Pedro Munoz, Marlon Moraes. What's next? I mean, if we're climbing back up the division here. I imagine Jose Aldo's got to be around the corner at some point.
I'm pulling up the rankings right now. So 13, if he wins, give me Frankie Edgar.
Frankie Edgar? Okay. I was just going to ask, is Jose Aldo too tall of an order after a Casey Kenny win? Is that too much of an ask?
Yeah, that's a little too tall. Give me Frankie Edgar. Maybe Rafael Asunko. I'm sorry, I don't know his last name. Maybe him, but he's been sliding since 2019. Frankie Edgar, he's had that loss that he just suffered. I think that if Dominic Cruz fights Frankie Edgar and beats him too, that will be kind of like the end for Frankie Edgar, but it'd be a great stepping stone for Dominic Cruz to show that, he still has a little bit left in him.
All right, right on. All right, let's move on to the next fight. What do you got here? We got the first fight of the main card, Thiago Santos versus Alessandra Rakic. I know you got Santos in this one. Will you go ahead and start with him, I suppose?
Yeah, so with Santos, his record is just a lot stronger than Rakic. I was just kind of like floored that Santos was an underdog considering just the track record. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't put, like, these books kind of don't put weight into the wins and the losses. They just kind of see the
Mhm.
record, and
Mhm.
they don't look deep into the results. And Santos, he actually knocked out Blazowicz, who's going
Mhm.
on the main card.
Yep.
And for
Yep.
me, that's kind of like very shocking to me. And Rakic, he's just kind of built his way up from the bottom of the division. And for
Mhm.
me, like they are giving him a chance to go against, you were talking about the older guard in the light heavyweight
Mhm.
division. They're
Yeah.
kind of
Yep.
being phased out. This is a
Mhm.
great stepping stone, but I think Santos still has that, that power that he's not at that he is at that age where he's going to be taking some hits, and he's not going to be taking them as well as he used to, but he
Mhm.
knocked out the guy who's on the main card. So for me, like
Headlining. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that the value for his the betting odds is very
Mhm.
great for being an underdog.
Yeah, I think this is still a close fight, but I am going opposite of you. I'm taking Rakic in this one, and that's just because I am going with the youth of the division. I believe there is going to be a changing of the guard. We do have Blachowicz at the top. We have Santos up there, Glover Teixeira. Who was the other old head up there that was driving me kind of nuts?
You said Glover Teixeira.
No, that was it. That was it. But then you have the next three up, the next guys up, like Dominic Reyes, Alessandra Rakic, and then who is it? Yuri Prochazka. I mean, those three guys to me are the future of the light heavyweight division. And I don't think that Santos' style is really going to meet Rakic here. Like, Rakic is a very athletic fighter. Like, he's going to have a little bit of a size advantage on Santos. That's not something that he's going to be used to. I think he's got about 2 inches on him, and he is just a brute of a man. Very big legs, very big upper body. His one loss so far came from Ozdemir, and in that fight, he would lose the fight by decision, but he completely won the first round, in my opinion. And the fight really shifted in Ozdemir's direction once he really beat up the lead leg of Rakic. Like, you can go back and watch that fight, and Rakic came out of the gate really strong, was all over him, right? Gets I believe his lead leg, his left leg, just really swollen up. Really heavy swelling right under his left kneecap. And in that fight, Rakic, had such a good start because he was able to lead so strongly on that left foot and just really plant it and hammer it home and take away that reach from Ozdemir, right? But after that, after that leg started swelling up or that kneecap started swelling up, it was a completely different fight. And Rakic wasn't able to necessarily, use his gas and be aggressive and leverage his athleticism that makes him such a strong fighter. And I feel like that's what wound up coming from the loss. I mean, the Jimmy Manuwa fight ended him with a strong head kick. Absolutely loved it. Took Anthony Smith to a decision. I did feel like he had a few opportunities to end that fight in which he didn't. If Rakic can really leverage his Muay Thai and really bring the fight to Santos early, I feel like he can win this one. I don't see Santos knocking him out. I don't see him winning by a decision. So I'm going to take Rakic to win this one probably by decision. I'm not going to pick a knockout. I feel like, it should be an exciting fight. There might be a few moments where you might see a guy like have a glimpse where, hey, he can end it, but I don't see either of them doing it. Santos is still coming off of, some losses against really good fighters, but still coming off some losses. I think his age is going to show in this one. If I'm Rakic, I just want to gas, be aggressive the entire way through, really burn down Santos's stamina bar and, really, essentially just leverage his age and show that, hey, I'm supposed to be here. If he does beat him, he should be in line for a title shot, Rakic. And so, and conversely, Santos, if he wins this fight, he should be right back in it with Blachowicz if he does retain his light heavyweight title.
For me, with only losing to Teixeira by rear naked choke in the third round, losing John Jones in a split decision, beating Blachowicz by punches in the third round, he can go, a good amount of distance. I do think that they are going to try and knock each other out because I think that this is the stepping stone for both fighters, because I think Santos is fourth and Rakic is fifth in the division. So these guys are basically, seeing who's up next for the title fight.
I believe Santos is number 2, isn't he? And Rakic is number 4?
Santos is 4, Rakic is 5. They're right next to each other.
Gotcha.
So for me, like,
Glover Teixeira number 2? Oh, no, I'm looking at Glover Teixeira's number 1, Santos is 2, and Rakic is 4. But I don't know which one you're looking at here. But I'm just UFC.com.
I'm looking at Tapology worldwide rankings. So
those guys need to update their rankings.
Yeah. My good friend Kurt Buckingham, he doesn't like UFC rankings at all. He thinks that Tapology has like a good idea of rankings. So he has like pages and pages of data. So I always listen to him. He got me started in UFC.
Fair enough. This one, regardless, will be a close fight, and obviously we see that in the odds. Is there any other value you might be able to give? What was the over/under on the roundage on this one? 1.5.
So the 1.5. From the over is minus 135. The under is plus 105. So for me, I'm gonna say it's gonna go over.
Yeah, I think this one goes. I think this one goes the distance here.
Yeah. For me, it's going to be like a 2-3 knockout, 2-3 round knockout. But it's not going to be 1.5. I think that's a really easy line. So for me, it's going to be the over and Santos winning because I don't think he's done letting up his one last shot to go in because we've seen what happened to Cruz. If you lose like a fight that you can get sent to the borderland. So we'll see what happens.
All right, right on. So Nick's got Santos in that one. I've got Rakic. Let's move on to the next one. We'll get into some fight props on BetOnline AG once we get to the previews here.
Yep, it's Petr Yan. And is it Alamein?
No, the next one we've got is Makevich and Drew Dober.
Oh, I don't know why.
Wipe out.
BetOnline has it weird like that. So Islam Makhachev and Drew Dober. For me, I'm gonna have Drew Dober. I kind of like, how he's kind of lost in a finish or won in a finish in his last 3 fights. Lost an armbar in round 2 before that, but then had 3 wins before that. So against Islam, he's more of like a decision kind of guy from what I'm seeing. I think that Dober's gonna try and overwhelm him. And I think that if he catches him with a good strike, he could take him down. So I think that he is going to win. He is a huge underdog, though.
No, he is a huge underdog, and I am still going Makevich, who is a heavy favorite in this one. And to me, he's just a better all-around fighter. Dober, excellent boxer, excellent stand-up game, very spry on his feet, always moving around, a lot of movement in the octagon. But Makevich just has a better overall game, and I feel like the game plan to take down Dober is get him to the ground, get him to wrestle. He only has a takedown accuracy of 17% and a takedown defense of 58%. He's not a very technical guy once you get him to the mat. I think that's going to be a big part of Makevich's game plan. And I feel like he can honestly, if they were just standing up, if you told me they're going to stand up the entire time and just throw punches, I'm still going to take Makevich. I still think that he's the better stand-up fighter over Dober, but that is what Dober does well is a stand-up game. But I just think that there's too much here behind Makevich's game. Very sound fighter, very technical. What is it? 93% takedown defense. That's solid. 68% takedown accuracy. Striking defense, 72% over Dober's 55. Striking accuracy, 56 over Dober's 40%. I just think there's just going to be a little bit too much coming down the middle for Drew Dober in this one. And I think he's going to get lost about in the middle of this fight. Once it gets to a grappling fight, they get him on the cage and someone gets taken to the ground. Dober's not going to want to be down there for long. And I think Makevich is going to make it a very difficult fight once he does get him to the mat.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see. Well, I mean, do you think this one can go the distance? I feel like that's kind of the case. I feel like people are going to be expecting someone to knock somebody out here. And I feel like this is another one that could go all the way. Or I see Makevich just finishing with a submission somewhere, in between.
Yeah. I see Dober, being able to keep the stand-up game and catching a knockout, or Makevich is going to take him to the ground and take him in a submission. The over-under for the roundage is 2.5. So I'm going to go the under. The under is at plus 125. The over is minus 155. I think it's going to happen before round 3. Well, something's going to happen before round 3.
I think Makevich can finish him before then. I really do, but I just see both of them trying to stay, or at least Dober trying to stay upright, and I think he does give Makevich a little bit of work. So I'm going to go. This one goes the distance.
Yeah. Okay. I see that. Next game, is it the Jan fight?
Correct.
Okay, so Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling. Yan is minus 175. Sterling is minus 103. So really, it's a toss up, and the over under is 3.5.
Man, I really want to root for Aljamain Sterling in this one. I really like this guy, but I don't know, man. Peter Yan, he's a machine. What do you think?
I think Jan is very similar to Demetrius Johnson. Like, yeah, in that kind of like smaller fight divisions, like they're kind of has been shown the model of success and continued long success. Jan seems to be a very smart fighter, a very technical fighter. He fights to win the fight. Usman kind of has that same model, but he just has a lot more power. But
much bigger guy, yeah.
yeah, much bigger guy. But Jan, I feel like he follows the model of Demetrius Johnson. I think we're going to see Jan at the top for a very long time. And I remember every time someone came up against Demetrius Johnson, you're always rooting for them because you always want to see the top fall and see a new champion. Sterling kind of has that like charisma factor that Jan doesn't, and I think that he is a very marketable person, but I think that Jan is just like that better fighter. If Sterling does win, that's awesome, but I think Jan is going to win this fight.
Yeah, I agree. And the sports books have this one really close. They're not giving an upset. They're only giving, minus 110, minus 107, even money both ways pretty much here. And I do think that Jan still has an advantage. I mean, the title was vacant and he fought Jose Aldo for the title and he was able to finish him. He finished him in the third round of that fight. That was awesome. And I felt like, that fight was going to wind up going the distance and, obviously until that moment because it was a very, very good matchup. But when Jan was able to finish him like that, Sterling's coming off a fight with, Corey Sandhagen? He jumped on his back. He got his legs around his waist and he never, ever let go. And Sandhagen held it off for a while, but you could tell, like, no, this fight's going to end here any second. And there it was. Tap, tap, tap. All right, get him off my back, please. Please stop making him choke me. Sterling, he is awesome. He has a ton of weapons with his striking, a very big volume striker. I think that he's going to come out very aggressive. And I think that as this fight goes on, you're just going to see that Jan is just, if they have the DraftKings odds up, you might see those odds like very even to start. And as it goes on, you're just going to see the odds for Jan just go up and go up and go up. He is a guy that just gets better the farther and deeper he gets into these fights. Like I said, that Aldo fight, like they were just going back and forth, third round. You're done, son. I feel like that's going to be a similar case in this one. I feel like he could end Sterling in the last round or just beat him in a decision. Jan, man, he's just so technical. He can switch up, his stance like in a blink of an eye. He can go southpaw like that. And people say he's even better going southpaw. Sterling, he's got the length. He's got 4 inches of reach on him. He's a taller fighter. But at this smaller division, Jan's just going to reel him in. Come on, let's go. He's going to take a couple of, or maybe even a handful of powerful strikes, and Sterling's going to be like, why isn't this doing anything? Jan can stand in there, take a beating, very technical with his stand-up game, and I think if he starts to get Sterling even to the ground, it's going to be a hard time for his wrestling. So I am still taking Jan in this one, and I really like him as a pick because of the value. The books aren't taking a stance here, so I'm going to take it with Peter Yan. Give me Jan in a decision here. What's the over/under on the roundage?
3.5. I think it's going distance. I think it's going to distance.
I'll just take over the 3.5. I don't even need to go the distance. I think Jan can just finish it in the back end of the fight. So I'll take over the 3.5 for sure.
My and yours minus 135.
I like that. What's the under, Pang? Just curious.
Plus 105.
Yeah, I like the over there. I like the over a lot. I think people are expecting a very, fast-paced fight, and I think Jan's really going to slow it down and, kind of make it a boring fight, to be honest with you. And I think that's going to, not necessarily feed into Sterling's, scheme or strategy. I think for Sterling to win this one, very similar to the next fight we got up, he's got a puncher's chance, but I think he's got to end Jan in it with a TKO or a submission or something like that. I don't see it coming. I just don't.
The next fight is Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. Nunes is minus 1,400. Anderson is plus 700. The over/under is for rounds is 1.5.
Wow, give me the under. Amanda Nunes hasn't finished anyone in a couple of fights. The last 2 fights went to decision. And the last person she finished, I believe, was Chris Cyborg. I think she's going to finish this one. Was it?
Holly Holm by head kick and punches first round.
Yeah, look
then
that up
Cyborg. But Cyborg was
okay.
before that.
All right, whatever. Either way, it's been a couple of fights since she knocked somebody out. Oh, yeah, there it is. For some reason, I thought that fight went to decision. Anyways, Nunes is going to take this one early. I mean, the only advantage Anderson has is her size. She lost that not that long ago to Felicia Spencer, who Nunes just spanked all over the Octagon for 5 rounds. Probably should have finished. Don't know how she didn't. Is there any way, Nick, that Anderson can win this fight? I know that you're not picking her to win.
So I think that Nunes is like, one of the greatest fighters in her division. And she just had a kid, so I don't want this to come across wrong. The only thing that I've heard about fighters coming back from having a kid is that sometimes the maternal instinct kind of like messes with their head. That happened on Tough with one of the woman fighters. She just had a kid and went to the competition and kind of struggled. But I think that Nunes is going to be able to overcome that. I think she's going to knock her out, but in case by the off chance that she doesn't able to overcome something, then it would be a great upset story, but I don't see that happening. I think Amanda Nunes is going to handle business and, basically just handle her business and continue moving on.
Yeah, and I'm not buying into that theme, post-pregnancy, whatever. I'm not buying into any of that. Amanda Nunes is the double champ. I mean, this isn't like, a tough fighter or someone coming on for something like that. I mean, she is the pound-for-pound best women's fighter on the planet right now. Mm-hmm. I don't see anyone in any division challenging her right now. Or at any point in the past 5 years, I'm going to need to see a name or some performances from someone else upcoming to say even the next 5 years, okay, until she just says, hey, you can give these belts to some other people. I'm done. I've got 4 kids or however many she wants to have, whatever
I think she's going to retire like at the top. I think I don't see anybody challenging her, and there's no one that even has like shown any kind of like explosive power or anything to like challenge her. She's just kind of mowing down the challengers, and I think she's going to end up retiring with really no equal.
Yeah, I agree. This one specifically, like, I don't even know why we're having this fight, to be perfectly honest with you. She's minus 400. I mean, the sportsbook, they have plenty to say about
minus
it.
Minus 1,400.
Minus 1,400. They've got plenty to say about it, but the UFC certainly doesn't. Their presser, before, or not before this, but before what I'm watching earlier, not that long ago, the UFC press conference for UFC 259, you weren't really seeing a bunch of tension between the two. You know what I mean? I saw better trash talk between Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling getting lost in communication or translation from English to Russian, whatever. Their trash talk was bad, and Nunes and Anderson was non-existent. So I just don't see what the UFC is even getting out of this other than, we're just going to let the double champ just dunk, 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 knock somebody else into the mat. Like, that's really all I see here. And I think that, not to say that you're pushing that theme, but I think that a lot more people in the media are pushing that theme. Like, oh, let's sell this fight as Nunes has, some kryptonite. She had a kid. She has that maternal feeling. She actually had a fight canceled in December, whatever. I think that if she's listening to that, big trouble for Megan Anderson. Big trouble.
Yeah,
sorry.
If anything, it would be fueling her because Nunes has shown nothing but dominance in the ring. So, I think that if she does lose, people will kind of point to that. But I don't think I don't think she's going to give that chance to anybody. She's just going to go and handle her business, and it's just kind of like a priming fight for her to come back after pregnancy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get to the main event. Let's get to the odds of this Blachowicz and Adesanya fight.
So Blachowicz is plus 195 and Adesanya is minus 230. Over under is 2.5.
So we got. What do you think about this with Adesanya? Do you think he's going to come in over 200? Sounds like he's going to come in light.
I think he's going to come in over 200, but not like. He's not going to touch the line. Okay. Isn't the line like 205?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's for the light heavyweight, but I believe he's allowed to fight less than that for sure, because it's a double fight, a double weight fight.
But when you're facing a guy like Blachowicz, he's a lot bigger, and he doesn't just fight at 205. Like he probably fights at like 225, 235. You know, he probably puts on a lot of weight in that single night from weigh-in to fight. Adesanya, like I think that he can win this fight. It's just like it's gonna be like that older style of watching Hoist Gracie fight those huge guys and seeing how he's just able to work them. I feel like Adesanya is gonna take a lot of damage, but I think that he's not trying to sacrifice his speed in any kind of way because that's kind of like the style that he plays. I think he's gonna try to avoid a lot of the hits that he takes, but I do think he's gonna take some damage.
I don't know, man. I see Adesanya cleaning this one up. I'm not going to say in short work, but I think it's going to be an impressive victory. I think he's actually going to KO Blachowicz. I think that he's going to be patient. The style bender is going to wait for that window, as he likes to do. He loves the feints and fakes. He loves to move his hands and his legs around and throw you in one direction and take you in another. I think he can end this one somewhere in rounds 2 or 3, to be perfectly honest with you. I think he's going to catch Blachowicz, take him and finish him by punches to the ground. It's not going to be necessarily like a powerful one punch, fight ending, strike. But I do think that he gets him to the ground on top of him. Pop, pop, pop. Ref's going to call it. I think it's that simple. I mean, Blachowicz, he's got a lot of power behind him, but he also will take punches. And I don't think that he's the most technical defender. He's getting up there in age. Adesanya, generational fighter, best striker of his time right now, 20-0. I'm going with the favorite. We got one double champ on the card. We're gonna have two. Going to be the 5th time in the UFC that we've crowned a double belt fighter. So give me Adesanya in this one. I think he takes it somewhere in the middle of this fight in the 3rd round. If Blachowicz does take it the distance, I still see Adesanya winning in a decision.
I see Adesanya winning by dice up, like kind of like that technical boxing dice up. Like he's just gonna wear him down and just stay just out of reach for Blachowicz. And probably I see like a 4th round like knockout or going the distance. I think that he's gonna like really just wear him down and just kind of like make Blachowicz just kind of not be able to see. Like his eyes gonna be swollen shut or something. You're right about Blachowicz not being a technical fighter, and I think that that's going to really, make the struggle to go longer for him harder against Adesanya, who's looking for those small windows, and I think there's gonna be a lot of windows available.
I believe so too. And with what you said, like ending with like one of those combos, I think that's exactly how it's going to end. He's going to get a couple of blows to the body, land a few to the head. He's going to go down, finish him on top of him with punches. And it's just going to be a few short strokes of the strike. Oh, that was kind of weird, but yeah, I think he's going to end him somewhere in the middle of the fight. If this somehow does go the distance, Adesanya is still going to take home the dub, become the double champ. So what's the line on the over under for the rounds?
2.5.
2.5, taking the over. Taking the over.
Minus
I think Blachowicz still has enough to last longer than the middle of that 2nd round for sure.
Yeah. Do you so that's the main fight. Did you want to go over the
let's roll into the props. Let's roll into the props.
All right. Pulling that up.
We got Real Deal Fantasy in the house tonight. If you guys haven't checked him out already on Twitter, be sure to do so. It's my guy LQ.
So let me see. We get the fun one. All right. So Jan and Sterling, method plus round. So the favorite is Jan by points, plus 265. Sterling by points, plus 350. So they're saying it's going to go to distance.
As we said just not that long ago, I feel like people are expecting a more exciting fight, but when you see the odds that even, why wouldn't you assume it goes to the distance? Like the sports books don't want to take a stance on it. I don't know how people sitting at home are going to be able to. So I'm taking Jan by decision. That's my original pick. What'd you say the odds were? -2 what?
Jan by points plus 265, Sterling by points plus 350. Interesting though, they also have another prop bet. It says goes the distance, no, -130, yes, plus 100. That doesn't make any sense because shouldn't
taking the distance.
Yeah, take the distance, and then it's also fighter wins inside distance. If it goes to decision, it's plus 100 there also. So they got a couple bets where you could really get some value when it goes the distance in this fight.
What do you think about the monkey knife fight prop we have for that one? I have Peter Yan at 96.5 significant strikes over under, and Aljamain Sterling at 66.5 significant strikes.
I like that. I think Sterling's going to try, or not Sterling, Jan. He's going to be dicing up. He's going to be trying to get those technical points. I think he's going to get a lot of, technical damage, and I think he's going to really try to go for octagon control and try and win that on the cards for the points.
Well, that's what he does, man. He just, come on, bring it. Like, if you watch a couple of his fights, he will take overwhelmingly heavy crosses to the head, and he'll just go like, hey, that's all you got? Really? I mean, this guy can take some damage, and he will stand in the middle of the ring and say, Sterling, bring it. Let's go. So I'm all about that. I'm going to take the over 96.5 for Peter Yan on the significant strikes, but I'm going to take the under on Aljamain Sterling just because his strikes, they're really not that powerful. Like, he's a volume striker, but they may not all land in the way that he's expecting. So I'm going to take Yan over 96.5 and under 66.5 for Aljamain Sterling. And also just because if that fight does finish before decision, I like Yan to finish it over Sterling.
Okay. So the let me see. The next one that I can see is Blodgett.
Yeah, no, you got to scroll.
Is Adesanya. So let me see. Fight starts round 2. Yes or no? So yes, minus 400. No, plus 300.
Yes. This is for Santos.
No, Adesanya and Blodgett.
Starts round 2. You said?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I think this fight gets finished somewhere in the midway point, right around the middle of the 3rd round.
So starts round 4, no, minus 115, yes, minus 115. So you're kind of on the favorite right there.
Me and the books. We're like this.
Starts round 5, no, minus 150, yes, plus 120.
I'm gonna say that they don't go to the 5th round. I'm gonna say that does not happen, no matter what. Whoever wins, no 5th round.
Oh, here's a good one. Fighter wins by split or majority decision. Adesanya plus 750. Blodgett plus 1400.
Not touching that. No, I'm not touching that one bit. No, like I said, Adesanya's finishing this one in my eyes.
All right, so Adesanya. Let's see, round 4.
Give me what's the round 3 finish for Adesanya? Because that's like my heavy pick here. Like what kind of odds can I get for that? Give it to me. Give it to me. Give me that plus 9 in that 3rd round, please. I think that's plenty enough time. You're looking at about 12.5 minutes of downloading Blachowicz, finding those gaps, finding that amount of space where you can, really nail that finishing combo. I'm all over it.
Adesanya round 4 finish plus 1400.
I like the 3rd. You could hedge. You could hedge.
In options, we call that a calendar strategy. So that'd be a good one. If you did like a small bet on the 3rd and a small bet on the 4th, it could definitely work out. So let me see. Method of victory: Adesanya by KO is the favorite, plus 130. Blachowicz by KO is plus 400. That'd
People
be
say like, "Oh, Blachowicz, he's so much bigger. He's so much bigger." Like, guys, have you looked at Paulo Costa? Have you looked at Yoel Romero, Whitaker, Kevin Gastelum? These guys are monsters, man. I think the last small guy that he fought was Anderson Silva, and he's a tall beast. He's a tree of a man. Like, come on.
Ooh, Israel Adesanya in round 4 plus 1200.
And what round? Sorry,
round 4. Or you want round 3? Sorry, round 3.
I wanted 3. You said in plus 9, right?
Plus 800.
All right, I'll take it. That's where I want him. Any big odds there for Blachowicz? I mean, if let's say he can finish let's say if Blachowicz wins by decision somehow. I think that's probably the least amount of odds, but
no, it's actually the favorite for Blachowicz. It's plus 650.
So that's literally the only way the books say that Blachowicz can win this fight is if he goes a distance and doesn't die, which I think he's gonna. So
the next one is Blachowicz wins in round 1 plus 800.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Adesanya, the style bender, 20-0, generational fighter, not coming in losing this one in the 1st round. Absolutely not. If there's some way I can bet Oppo with that, I'll take it. But obviously, I'm not going to get great odds. So let me look at the. Go ahead.
I'm pulling up Rakic and Santos. So here we go. So fight starts round 2. Yes or no? Yes, minus 220. No, plus 180.
Definitely starts round 2 for sure. I don't think either of these guys are going to be ending it in the first. I think there's going to be a lot of measuring up in the first round. I think there's going to be a lot of touch and go. Rakic is really going to be feeling out what he can do with that lead leg, and I think we're going to feel a little bit underwhelmed by that first round, and things really start to pick up that last minute and a half of that first round for sure.
So fight starts round 2. Yes or no? No is -120. Yes is -110.
Yeah, I'm taking it. Taking the yes. What do we get for the third round?
That was the fight starts round 3.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, like I said, I got this one going the distance. I think Rakic can take this one by decision, or even finish Santos at a given time.
Goes to decision is +155.
Is that the leading option?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And then let me see. Method by round. The leader is Rakic by points +225. Next is Santos by round 1 KO +500. Next one is Rakic in round 1 by KO +600, and then Thiago by points +650.
The sports books are saying Thiago's got to finish this one in the first, otherwise he's losing by points in the third. Ouch. Man, yeah. You guys are being mean to Mr. Santos. That's not cool. Man, show some respect. Whatever, man. Like I said, I think Rakic, he's on the come up. He's I strongly believe that he is the future of this division. And if it's not him, you're looking at Dominic Reyes or Prochazka. That's what I'm looking at.
Let me see. Method of victory. The favorite is Thiago Santos by KO at +205. Rakic is +215 by KO. So they're saying they're going to knock each other out probably round 3.
All right, that'll be a fun finish, but I'm still going to be on old boy Rakic. Rocket Rakic.
Makhachev and Dober. So fight starts round 2. Yes or no? -400 is yes. +300 is no.
I might take that. I mean, Makhachev and Nunes, those are the round ones that I'm a little interested in for some props. Like, I feel like Makhachev could, if he gets Dober to the ground early on in this fight, he can end it quick, man. I'm telling you, he's way better a fighter than Dober on the mat for sure, like light years ahead of him. And I feel like if I'm Makhachev, that's what I want to do. Like, tap gloves and I'm coming at your waist. Like, I'm going right at you for a takedown, and we're going to the floor, buddy, because I'm not even going to let you get this fight started. And I just feel like if he does that, he can end it quick. What'd you say? +400 for a round 1, just finish for Makhachev? Is that right? Yeah. I'm all about it. I'm willing to throw a few shekels that way, man.
So the method puts round. Makhachev by points is a favorite with that -110. Dober by points is +750 with the next option. Dober in round 1's the next option at +750. So he's either going to win by points or round 1 knockout. And then Makhachev round 1 submission +1,000.
Ooh, $5 holla. Might have to. I'm going to do it.
That's a good one. I like that.
Maybe they'll let me parlay that with a round 1 Nunes KO.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want the submission though. I feel like the best bet there is to just take a round 1 finish for Makhachev and Nunes if I can get it. Sometimes they don't let you do that. They won't let you double down on the props like that.
Yeah. Let me see. So the favorite for round betting is Makhachev by points at -110. Makhachev by round 2, or Makhachev in round 1 +450. Makhachev in round 2 +650. Dober by points +750.
Well, I mean, that's originally our pick, right? It was at least my pick was Makhachev by points, by decision. That was my original pick. But if I want to get some value in on this fight, like I said, Makhachev is an excellent fighter, man. Like, he's still favored, like, was it -330 on the money line for this one? Big favorite, very technical fighter. I think he can finish him with his wrestling. So I think that's the value play, getting him in the first round and maybe hedge it with some safe money with the finish.
Okay. The next fight we're going to go over is Nunes versus Anderson. Fight starts round 2. Yes or no? Yes, -200. No, +160. Starts round 3.
Give me the 160.
The 160. Okay. And then the fight starts round 3. No, -160. Yes, +130.
You like anything there?
No.
No. No. Well, like I said, Anderson's super underwhelming here. Give me Nunes in the first round. Like I said, I'll parlay that with a Makhachev first round finish as well.
All right, so method plus round, the top three. Nunes in round one is by KO plus 375. Nunes by points plus 450. Nunes round one submission plus 450.
Yeah, I'm just taking Nunes in the first. I don't like any of those other options. I mean, at value. I mean, we saw, was it Felicia Spencer and Nunes go 5 rounds. Felicia Spencer beat Anderson, I believe, in the first round of their bout. I mean, there's no way Anderson goes the distance here. What was the fourth round? They make it to the fourth for either. They just make it to the fourth round.
Fight starts round 4. No, yes. No is minus 290. Yes, plus 230.
Yeah, I don't see it. Neither do they. So I can't get into any of that. And realistically, the books aren't just giving us like a ton of value in that fight in general. So I don't love it.
Yeah. So the last one for the bets or prop bets, you want to go over the Dominic Cruz, Casey Kenny?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, where do you think that fight can finish? Where do you have Cruz finishing him? I think we're both in agreement that he's going to win the fight. Where can he finish it?
I think it's going to go distance.
Go the distance? Yeah.
So fight starts round 3. Yes, minus 350. No, plus 275. Goes to distance. Yes, minus 260. No, plus 200. So I was kind of right on that. The method plus rounds. Cruz is the favorite by points. Plus 150. Kenny by points plus 170. And then Kenny either's got to knock him out in round 1 or round 2. That's plus 1,000 and plus 1,200. Method by victory is Dominic Cruz by points. So they kind of say it's going to go to distance there.
Yeah, and we said as much earlier, so I think I'll ride with that prop as well. Let's close out the show with the rest of our monkey knife fight props. We got Alexander Rakic versus Thiago Santos. Rakic 46.5 significant strikes over under. Santos 26.5. I'm going to go on under for Santos and over for Rakic. I'm kind of assuming you're going to go opposite.
Yeah, opposite.
Okay. I mean, I know that we're kind of flipped on that fight, but I think that's going to still be a really good fight. I mean, obviously the odds are really close. I'm hoping that we get a good show here.
Yeah.
Next up, I got Drew Dober versus Makevich, both at 31.5 significant strikes. I'm going over for both. I mean, I feel like we can still get a good stand-up game from both of these guys. I feel like those numbers are too low.
Yeah, I'm going to say over, but actually, no, I'm going to say under because
for which one? For both?
Both, because it's going to be a submission in first round.
Oh, shit. Okay. Switching it up. And then I think we went over Jan and Sterling. We did touch on that one. Nunes and Anderson. I'm going to go under for both of these. 65.5 for Nunes and 25.5 for Anderson. This one doesn't go the distance. Anderson, I don't think, gets up 15. So I'm going under for both. I mean, Nunes may not even get over 15. I think she just makes quick work of her. 15
significant strikes?
I think she's going to end her quick. I'm talking first round. So I mean, how many do you need to get in to finish her?
15.
I mean,
yeah. All right, I'll take the under on that with you.
I might be a little aggressive with that take.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm just saying. I think Nunes comes in and wants to bury her fast, like Conor McGregor, 30 seconds fast. You know, type of performance. Like don't say that stuff on my name. Having babies. Like I can't be a mother and kick everyone's ass.
For real.
The lioness. Don't mess with her. She'd be a Lannister if this was Game of Thrones. All right. Well, we can go through like a quick preview of UFC 260 if you want, really quick. That's pretty much all we have for the show here. Pull that up really quick. They got Ngannou versus Miocic. Who do you taking in that main event? Don't have to go too deep here in analysis. Just like your quick picks here. We'll roll through it pretty fast and head out.
Miocic.
Francis Ngannou. Yeah, I feel like I got to go that way too. He's just time is not against him right now. He's just going to continue to keep rolling. Volkanovsky versus Ortega. Still going with Volk.
Ortega
going to take it down. Going to take down the champ. Tyron Woodley. Oh man, Vicente Luque. I mean, yeah, I was going to say, man, Woodley is falling fast. And if Donnie's still watching, his guy, Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Alameda, I'm going O'Malley there.
Oh yeah. O'Malley's definitely gonna get it. He only lost that fight because he like broke his leg or whatever.
Well, it happens. It can happen.
It does happen. He shouldn't get sent to the Shadowlands for that though. Like seriously, like look at the fight. Cruz. Watch the film.
Sportsbooks don't have time for that. The sportsbooks lay those weird numbers like that because people look at those, those curb appeal numbers, like, just the overall records, the last 3 fights, their opponents and things like that. They take advantage of that curb appeal. So if you're not doing your homework, digging deep, watching some of these bouts, digging back into your UFC pass or, trudging through YouTube for the videos that aren't available, you might find some holes that might not necessarily be filled by the sports books. And that's why we're here to help you guys take it to the Hizzy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed TITTH number 115. We'll be back in a couple more weeks here once we get to, prepping for UFC 260. Nick, you got anything to close it out with?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you all for watching. Had fun talking about the fights, and hope you guys enjoy the next card that comes up.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for the continued support. We'll see you next time. Take care.
See you guys.
I was just about to end it out.